Hello everyone. I know the old saying of keep your friends close and your enemies closer, it can have some merit to it, but I don't think is what is currently happening is what was actually intended. So how can it be that the UK's second most senior general wants to relax security checks on foreign applicants and believes that, and I quote, just because we have a rank structure doesn't mean to say that we have to behave in a hierarchical way. That is absolute insanity for a general to actually say that. It's crazy. And for those of you who don't know, I'm ex-military myself. I served 7 years. I'm a veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan. I was in the Royal Electrical Mechanical Engineers and I was a mechanic. And for those of you who don't fully understand the way the army operates, yes, I may have turned spanners for the majority of my time, but I also trained to be a soldier as well. I was a soldier first, tradesman second. That is the way it works in the army. So the long march, and in General Nesmith's case, literally marching in some cases, through the institutions is almost complete. After reading the article in the Telegraph, I personally believe General Nesmith is a serious risk to our national security and at the very least should be forced to retire from active duty. You may say to yourself, but Dave, that is a little bit on the extreme side. You know, these comments aren't quite as bad as what you may be trying to say. To which I say, no, absolutely no. General Nesmith is trying to undermine national security for the sake of diversity, and I mean that in the literal sense. I believe that she is creating a bonfire of our national security in order to placate her feelings of being more inclusive to people that she feels are underserved. She is willing to. And when it comes to, I don't know, if you're running a furniture delivery service or you've got a bakery or something like that, it doesn't really matter. You can play these silly games. But when you're talking about the military, or you're talking about the police, or you're talking about the airline institution or nuclear power plants, diversity does not matter. What matters is safety and competency and getting the best people in for the actual job. And that isn't dependent on skin colour. If everybody ends up being a black two-legged, one-legged, lesbian, whatever, I don't care. As long as they are all the most competent people, that is all that actually matters in this. You know, you can't be pandering to this kind of ideology when it comes to something as serious as national security. But recently, it was also revealed that there was a report called the British Army's Race Action Plan. And to briefly summarise what it's about, it says that there are a few too many minorities becoming officers, and that we should relax security checks for foreign applicants. I mean, this would be bad enough if it was just rank and file soldiers, people like myself, you know. But at least the damage and the potential for damage could be minimised to a certain degree. But we're talking about the officers here. You know, she wants to relax foreign applicants becoming officers. And she also, if I remember correctly from reading the article, she said words to the effect of equality of opportunity should be for everybody. Well, no, I don't agree with that. If you've got somebody coming from a foreign country and becoming, I'm not saying that they shouldn't be able to become an officer, but they absolutely should be limited in what rank they can get to. You know, and we should actually be preventing people from certain countries becoming. Why should we allow, say, for example, a Russian to become an officer in our military? That just absolutely should not be happening. We also have the risk, and again, I've no problem with this, but I've met plenty of people from various countries when I served in the army, from like Nigeria, Uganda, places like that, you know, Fiji, Nepal. Yeah, great. These people be soldiers. Yeah, if they want to apply to be officers, absolutely. But what's to stop people from those countries being approached by our enemies and saying, you go join the British Army as an officer and we'll look after your family back home for you, don't you worry. But we want you to feed us with information. And we might want you to make some very specific orders as well. You know, we might want you to start making certain decisions, and we want you to start giving information back to us on decisions that are being made behind closed doors in the military. What's to stop that from happening? Very, very dangerous, what this game that they're playing here with this diversity. And this is the ultimate problem. But not only that, she's put particular emphasis on this actually happening in the intelligence corps. I mean, that is really, really insane. You know, the actual brain of the military she wants to open the door to infiltration to our enemies. Absolutely madness. This woman, Lieutenant General Nesmith, I think she's an actual danger to our country and our safety from foreign influence. Now, when this report was first exposed, many people, and I do include myself in this, by the way, with what I'm about to say, believe that it was drafted by civilian staffers in Whitehall. But it's been revealed in this report, and she openly admits it as well, I believe, that General Nesmith herself is the one who actually has created this report, so it's come top down through the military. So any ability to actually deny that this is coming from civilian influence is completely been blown out of the water. This absolutely is coming from within the military itself. Now, how is it that a person with this kind of ideology has got to a position of being a lieutenant general? It's absolute madness. Because she will not have been these ideas that she's espousing now. She won't have been keeping. Obviously, I can't prove this, but she will not have been keeping these sorts of ideas to herself going through the ranks. This kind of thinking that she's had will have been made aware to her seniors who've then promoted her. I can't imagine the mindset of the people promoting this individual to lieutenant general. I mean, getting her to brigadier is bad enough, but lieutenant general, absolutely insane. And really, this really does need looking into. And every single person every promotion board she's sat on, and every person who's promoted her needs looking into, in my opinion. So in the Telegraph article, she also says she admires the ex-New Zealand Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern. Yes, that is the very same Prime Minister who went more authoritarian than Chairman Mao during lockdown, and even admitted herself, and I chose Chairman Mao on purpose, to admiring the Chinese Communist Party and how they run China. And that's not to mention also the fact of rampant cocaine use whilst being Prime Minister of New Zealand as well. That Jacinda Ardern, incredibly dangerous person. Again, she's, in my opinion, an absolute out-and-out dyed-in-the-wool communist. Now, to be fair, also, to General Nesmith, and I've not written this down, but I do think it's fair to admit it, she didn't necessarily say she admired her because of her politics. She said she admired her because she was a woman and because of the position that she was in. But I still think she could have picked somebody a lot better than that. She could have picked, say, I don't know, Margaret Thatcher. At least Margaret Thatcher, for everything that you could say was wrong about her, you could say, well, you know what, at least she was a patriot to Britain. At the very least, she was on our side. You could criticise her decisions, you could argue about going to war with the unions and all of that sort of stuff, but you can at least say she stood up for Britain, at least in the very least when it came to our foreign affairs. You can't say that about Jacinda Ardern at all. It's just absolutely, or Theresa May or any. There are millions of, I don't know. You could even say Hillary Clinton. If you don't like, whatever. There's a million other women you could pick, not Jacinda Ardern. It's just absolutely crazy. But but on top of that as well, she's even, and it appears that she's proud of this, ordered a command staff under her. I think maybe when she was a brigadier, but it could be when she was a general, to go on laughter yoga. I mean, I don't know what the hell that is, but my God, I don't believe General Nesmith doing that fully understands or takes military matters seriously at all. I think McCarthy was absolutely right when he said that there were Reds under the bed. Although we don't appear to have Reds under the bed, our so-called betters, those people who are supposed to be running this country, have coaxed the Reds out from under the bed. Said, come on out from under the bed. They've then dragged us out of the bed, made us change the bedding, and then allowed the Reds into the bed and took some in and given them a kiss on their forehead. Good night. We've been fully infiltrated. We've fully allowed these nutters into our institutions, and I've spoken about this in other organisations as well in other videos. And not only that, we've seen this as well, like in the RAF with the useless white males comment. Yeah, useless white male pilots comment scandal. And it's no wonder with things like this going on that there's an absolute shortage in recruitment. I mean, can't they not see the connection between their actions and their decision making? I'll see about sharing at the end of this a quick picture as well. The most recent army advert that's going around about sexual harassment within the forces. It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely insane. And as an ex-service personnel, and I think it would not be sexual harassment, and you'll see what I mean with the picture. Well, I'll tell you now. It's a female soldier touching a male soldier, and the male soldier, she's white, he's brown. I'm telling you now for a fact, if that happened in real life in the military, there is not a single male soldier, unless they are homosexual, who would find that as sexual harassment. They would be like, yeah, get in, and then they'd be like, right, come on, back to your room now, quick. That is exactly what would happen in that scenario. I'm not even joking. Because they are young, very, very energetic, very, very healthy males with high testosterone levels. They are not going to turn down. And it's part of the male culture in the military that if a girl comes onto you, you go with it. It doesn't matter how ugly, fat, smelly, they can have all the teeth missing. You just go with it anyway, and everybody has a laugh about it afterwards, including yourself. That is just, unfortunately, the way the mind. And especially, no, it's not unfortunately. The military needs that mindset, and a lot of civilians won't get that. There's been a lot of people who say, that's disgusting, that's horrible. But you need a certain type of mindset to be a soldier, an effective soldier, and that is part of it. It's that kind of mindset. I'm not even going to try and explain it to people and defend it. That is just a fact. And if you don't like it, well, that's tough. That's what you need to have, an effective military. So anyway, to get back to my point, on not understanding military matters previously, what I was saying about the general, and I'll make this my final point as well. She also wants to include what she calls lateral entry, and what she means is that you obviously have your rank structure, going private, lance corporal, corporal, sergeant, staff sergeant, warrant officer 2, warrant officer 1, then you start going into your officer ranks. What she wants is people with technical skills that are required by the military at a particular time. She wants these people to enter at non-junior rank levels. So private, lance corporal, corporal are your junior ranks, and then sergeant, staff sergeant, and then your 2 warrant officers are your senior ranks. So she wants people to be able, so say you have, I don't know, a computer engineer, when the army needs computer engineers. She wants to allow that person to enter at, say, this is what I believe she means. She wants them to enter at a sergeant rank. And to those of you who are not military minded, you might think, oh, well, what's the problem with that? Well, the trouble is that when you're a sergeant, or even when you're a lance corporal or a corporal, you're expected to have a certain degree of tactical knowledge and experience. It's no good just simply being able to explain how a fire team works, as a basic example. You need to actually have experience in setting up that fire team and positioning that fire team and telling that fire team how to operate under your command, or even a full platoon, and how to suppressing the enemy. And it only comes through going on things like military exercises, doing your NCO courses, and also deploying on tour as well. Putting the theory into practice. And as you go through the ranks, you obviously gain more and more years experience. You might go on 2 or 3, even 4 exercises a year, and sometimes you go on multi-month long exercises, where you're constantly doing this stuff day in, day out to reinforce it and reinforce it and reinforce it. So to bring somebody in a sergeant rank who's, in theory should have 10 years of military experience behind them, of working through all different positions, being a rifleman, being a machine gunner, being second in command of a section, being first in command of a section, then being a platoon commander, blah, blah, blah. You're just not going to have that. So if you then have this person who's going on operational tours and that base starts getting hit heavy by an enemy, how are they supposed to take command of troops underneath them and actually organise a defence to repel the enemy? They're not going to be able to do that because they will not have the experience. And as I said before, you're a soldier first, tradesman second. People, whether you like that or not, that is just a fact. And you could be like I was in the REME, a mechanic. I could have stayed in and say become a staff sergeant, infantry, call them a colour sergeant. Now, let's say I'm at a forward operating base and it's just me and a couple of Toms. Craftsmen or privates to most people, working in their little workshop to keep their vehicles running. And let's say the base gets hit heavy and the general chain of command gets wiped out. You could end up with a load of infantry lads, 30, 40 infantry lads, could then be turning around and looking at me as the senior rank for leadership. And I can't say, whoa, lads, I'm just a mechanic. I only know how to turn spanners. That ain't good enough. I've got the 3 stripes and a crown on my chest in that scenario. I need to know what to do and how to. And okay, maybe a case of I will take in the senior corporals or a senior sergeant and say, look, mate, I need a bit of advice here from you. I need you to be my advisor. And that they will understand that because they know that you're not an infantryman, that you don't have the same experience as them, and they'll respect you with that. But he'd be like, right, give me some advice. I want some advice from a couple of you, and then you make your decision from that advice. But somebody in that position won't even be able to listen to the advice and understand what to make with that information. At least I, as somebody, and I left the army as a lance corporal, at least I could listen to sergeants talking to me and fully understand what they're on about. And fully be able to act, and I could actually put on that rank hypothetically, and I could at least act on that information given to me because I have the experience to be able to interpret that information and know what it actually means through experience. And this is the danger that this general is going to be bringing into the military, in my opinion. It's just absolute madness. As I said at the beginning about keep your friends close but your enemies close. I mean, why? Who needs enemies when we have friends like that? Just absolute craziness. And just actually, I said that was going to be my last point, but just a quick one as well. We also had a recent, and I'll share this article below. I'll just very briefly touch on it. We also had the Royal Navy recently as well, saying that they want to start making the sailors go on courses about how the Royal Navy impacts on global warming. I mean, that I think is actually an illegal order to make the sailors do that, because that is a highly politicised topic, and in effect the Royal Navy is politicising their sailors, which is actually illegal. They're not allowed to politicise. You're not allowed to politicise military personnel. It's an absolute no-go, and I do believe that the Royal Navy is committing a very serious crime in that one. Right, 15 minutes. I have really got on with this. I'll put links in below for everything. I hope you found that interesting, informative, insightful, all that good stuff. If you have, please definitely do like, subscribe, and put a comment below. I love reading people's comments, and I do love getting back to them, even if you disagree with me. And I'm not close-minded that I'll just ignore things. If you've got a strong enough argument, I am willing to listen to it, and I sometimes will even change my mind if your argument's good enough, because I'm a reasonable person like that, believe it or not. Anyway, thank you. Goodbye.